Galilee, and you could see that the Sea of Galilee looked like maybe a clock, and most of the sites and the events that I mentioned, almost all of them, happen between 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, give or take. Okay, and it's really interesting. Why? For two reasons. First of all, we learned quite a lot about the areas that the Jews came from, and it's also we need to ask ourselves why. And we see that 9 to 12, this is where the international road used to go. So the road going down from the area of Cana, okay, to the Sea of Galilee at 9 o'clock at Magdala, okay, Mary Magdalene once again, and then it's going around over here to Capernaum. Capernaum is at 12 o'clock where the Jordan River entered the Sea of Galilee. Okay, and when you cross the Jordan River, you are in the land of the Gentiles. Okay, so the Jordan River enters at 12 and it leaves at 6. Okay, and everything between 12 to 6 is the land of the Gentiles, and 6 to 12 is the land of the Jews. This area, 9 to 12, and specifically over here, we call it in Arabic the Tabgha. Tabgha means Tabgha in Arabic, or in Hebrew mitbach, mean kitchen or place of cooking or place of food. Why? For several reasons. The miracle is one of them, but this is also where every fisherman will come to fish. This is where the breeding ground for the fish is. So there are several springs over here, 7 springs, okay, and the fish like to lay their eggs in the water of the springs that pop directly into the lake. So this is where the people were fishing. This was their source of food. Okay, fishing over here was much easier. So this is one thing. Now, the ideas about finding here cures, very old and shared by all religion. For example, the Muslims call one of the springs Ain el Ayub. Ayub is Job, and the Muslim believe that after the curses and the plagues that were hitting Job, he washed himself in the water of that spring and he cured himself. So we see the traditions about the power of water over here to cure, to heal, to baptize are shared by all. And let's read from Luke 9:12. Late in the afternoon, the 12 came to him and said, "Send the crowds away so they can go to the surrounding villages and countryside and find food and lodging, because we are in a remote place over here." This was place for fishing, but this was not place for living.
No place for you.
Okay, so they can go to Capernaum, they can go to Magdala, Tiberias, or Chorazin up in the mountain, but over here, that was a marshland where people fished. Okay, he replied, "You give them something to eat." And I really love this part, because Yeshua is an amazing father to his students, or amazing teacher to his students. You know, I have kids, and when my kids ask me to do something for them, I tell them, "You do it." Why? I want the kids to believe that they can do everything. Okay, if I'll do everything for my children, when they grow up, they will be lazy bums. They won't be able to do anything by themselves. I need from a very, very early age to make them understand and believe in their power and ability. I need to prepare them for the next day. Okay, I'm not going to be there always to provide for them. They will need to provide for themselves. Yeshua know all of that and more. Not only that they will need to provide for themselves, they can provide for themselves. They will need to do what? Provide for others. They will be the one that will lead the believers. So he prepared them. He tells them, "You give them something to eat." They answer, "We have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all of this crowd." About 5,000 men were there. And basically they say, "Oh, I cannot do it." You know how it is, man. "I cannot do it. I cannot do homework at math. I cannot cut the lawn. I cannot wash the dishes." Okay? It's too much work. And instead of telling them, "Oh, you can do it," or "Never mind, I will do it," what is doing? Let's do it together. Amazing. But he said to his disciple, "Have them sit down in groups of about 50 each." He broke the mission. Okay, he's really teaching. He broke the mission. Let them have seats. The disciple did so, and everybody sat down. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke them. Then he gave them the disciple to set before the people. He helped them but he wanted them to be in the front. He wanted them to be able to make it. He wanted them to be able to do it. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciple picked up 12 basketful of broken pieces that were left over. Not only that everyone were eating, they were more into it. Okay, so this is a beautiful story, and everything is a little bit complicated today with land owning. The church is arguing with itself who's owning what. So over there, you see the big eucalyptus tree, there is another church. Okay, there's another church over there, and the other one is called Peter Primacy, and the church over there is dedicated to something else. Okay, the church over there is dedicated to a different event, and this event happened after the crucifixion of Yeshua, and the disciples are lost. Now, when we are lost, when we don't know what to do, what do? We go to the comfort zone, to what we used to do as babies. You know that people in severe trauma, they can suck on their thumb, even when they're old, because they're going back to your origin, to your source. And this is what happened to disciples. After the crucifixion of Yeshua, they're lost. So they going back to what they used to do, what they used to do, fishermen. So they're coming here to fish instead of lead the people, right? He prepared them, but they were not ready yet. So they're going and fishing, but they're not there. They're not fully invested. They're like, they go to the comfort zone, but they're like zombies. They're doing it. They don't know what they do. So this is from John 21:4. Early in the morning, Yeshua stayed on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Yeshua. He called out to them, "Friends, haven't you any fish?" No, they answered. He said, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some." When they did, they were unable to hold the net in because of the large number of fish. Then the disciple whom Yeshua loved said to Peter, "It is the Lord." As soon as Simon Peter heard him say, "It is the Lord," he wrapped his outer garment around him and jumped into the water. Remember, in the past, Peter was afraid. He said, help me, help me. Now, there is no fear in him. He's just jumping to the water. And he's taking the risk. He's jumped to the water. The other disciple followed in the boat, throwing the net full of fish, for they were not far from shore, about 100 yards. When they landed, they saw fire of burning coal there with fish on it and some bread. So we see the fish and bread again, almost the same location. Okay, I don't know if it was there or there, does not matter. But the idea of eating over here, Yeshua and the disciple, we can see in the beginning he prepared them, and we see in the end he remind them of that teaching that he was giving them. You can do it. When they finished eating, Yeshua said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than this?" "Yes, Lord," he said, "you know that I love you." Yeshua said, "Feed my lamb." Again, Yeshua said, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Yeshua said, "Take care of my sheep." The third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Yeshua asked him the third time. "Do you love me?" He said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Yeshua said, "Feed my sheep." Okay? Remember? I was teaching you how to do it. Now it's about time that you go up and do it. And we see the whole process in two churches, one next to the other, in a place of eating. Simple food, okay? Fish and bread, very formal, very simple things. But this is an amazing teaching. Not telling people you can do it, really taking them hand in hand and proving them that they can do it. I think it's really amazing. So what we have over here is a small church that is dedicated to the miracle. And normally I told you it's really difficult to determine what is the right location. But this church is unique. And I would say that this church is so unique that it's making sense that this is the location indeed for sure. Why? Because remember the finger? So when they built the last church, the modern church over here, they saw mosaic on the floor of the oldest church, and they decided to they decided to protect and preserve the old mosaic. And the mosaic on the floor from the Byzantine church is very interesting. Why? Because on the one hand, it's a beautiful mosaic with all sort of scenes of ducks and birds and big celebration that are not local. Those are celebrations coming from the Nile. And then you have in the middle of it, A weird piece, not so well done, of a basket full with fish and bread. And that's to teach us about the beginning, the first churches that were built and the first synagogues that were built in that time. They were built by artists that used to make pagan temples. So the artist arrived and they asked him, what can you do? And he had this, I can do the celebration for the idols in the Nile. And they said, okay, you can do it, but please, we want to add something to this church. Now, the celebration of the Nile, he knew how to do perfectly. But when he needed to do something like the basketful with the fish and bread that is unique, he struggled a little bit. So like the entire mosaic is like really nice because he's done it probably several times before. But to get the right proportion of the bread and the fish and the bread is not super accurate. On the other hand, this is the only church that we found a basketful with fish and bread. So it's making sense. It's here to say this is the location where this miracle happened. And this mosaic that was found over here, you will see it on many souvenirs from around. The same image on the mosaic of the basket with the fish and bread. Okay, so let's enter. Inside, once again, over here, the nun is normally really, really aggressive. So I won't talk, but you'll be able to look at the ground and see the original mosaic, the one that is really like nice with the birds and the ducks, and the celebration of the Niles. And then you can see in the center the basket with the bread and fish.